Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2022 World Leader Summit of Love and Peace. Our event is titled Responsible World Citizens and a Healthy Planet. Thank you for joining our associated event, which is also in support of the Stockholm Plus 50 conference. This event is brought to you by the Federation of World Peace and Love, the Association of World Citizens, and Taijuman Qigong Academy. For the world and our future generations, the health of our external environment is as important as that of our inner self. Conscience is the key to the health of world citizens' inner environment. When people are awakened to their conscience, they will develop moral values and practice conscience-based actions. Since the year 2000, FOPAL, AWC, and Taijuman have promoted conscience, love, and peace globally. They have worked with various permanent missions to the United Nations, and the United Nations adopted the Declaration of the International Day of Conscience in the year 2019, declaring April 5th from then on as the International Day of Conscience. When we act on our conscience, we can become responsible world citizens, which allows us to work towards a healthy planet. And now let us take a brief moment to watch the introduction of today's event to understand its purpose. Let's welcome the video.
World citizens' inner health is essential for the Earth's sustainability, with conscience being the key. When people are awakened to their conscience and inspired by conscience education, they'll develop moral values and inner health, practice conscience-based actions, become responsible for ecosystem restoration, and work toward SDGs with positive energy. Since 2000, AWC, FOPAL, and Taijuman have promoted conscience, love, peace, and human rights globally and attended Earth summits to promote SDGs, as well as worked with various permanent missions to the UN conferences, bell-ringing ceremonies, and declaration signing, making the UN's adoption of International Day of Conscience possible. They've held over 55 webinars in the past 2 years, fostering conscience-based sustainability. They will hold a hybrid event, echoing Stockholm Plus 50 and the first leadership dialogue to contribute to global sustainability. During the ancient ceremony of ringing the bell of world peace and love, the bell ringer's respect for nature and wishes for peace will be spread through the sound of the bell, bringing positive energy to all, facilitating ecosystem restoration.
Everything starts from the heart. In the future world after 2002, the spiritual level is beyond all previous technologies. The balance between the mind and technology is equally important. Only by ensuring that human beings still have a pure and kind heart can the world be free from disease, the sustainable development of war, fear, pain and anxiety. Love and peace is the greatest hope for the future of all mankind.
To date, 399 visionary leaders from 122 nations, including 43 world leaders, have rung the bell. 3 bell ringers, former presidents of Senegal, the Dominican Republic, and Sao Tome and Principe, rang the bell and made wishes for peace during their tenure and later mediated between neighboring countries to defuse potential wars, fulfilling their promises to foster global sustainability. We have the power to prevent our planet from war and degradation. A call for global solidarity. Join 3.7 million other world citizens to protect our only home. Endorse the declarations of peace and conscience to demonstrate our commitment to global sustainability. So
that was the video, and as you can see, the Association of World Citizens and the Federation of World Peace and Love and Taijin Qigong Academy has traveled the world to promote love, conscience, and peace. And so actually to this date, we have traveled to over 101 nations, promoting this message that is very important and that every corner in the world needs right now. So despite any potential difficulties or challenges, the love and the angel that lies within each and every one of us and every one of you here as well, with that, we are able to overcome those difficulties and challenges. So now we would like to welcome our next performance, Angel in Your Heart.
Knows what it will be. Danger and difficulty sometimes depress me, but I know I have secret wings to fly me high, 'cause everyone is enjoying his heart. Come on shore, you are energy to awaken the sleepy world. You can share your smile to color the black and white. You are brave and you're strong. Difficulties in your life, you are angel with a heart of love. Spread your wings, the angel in your heart. Spread your wings, the angel in your heart. Fly with a wing into the sky. Angels round the world, fly to a safe place. Let love flowers blooming happy places. Make Mother Earth become a paradise. Just follow the sound in your heart. The sound always show the bright side of things. The sound is love, the love in your heart. Love that you find the angel in your heart. Spread your wings, the angel in your heart. Spread your wings, the angel in your heart. We are angels of love. We are angels of love.
That was beautiful. And all our wonderful guests today, you guys are also angels, like I've said earlier. And today, and maybe in previous days, you've all flown together here, gathered in Stockholm. And with more than one person, we can build a transformative power to affect the world together. And now I would like to welcome Dr. Hong Daozi, 掌门人 of Taijimen, Vice President of the Association of World Citizens, and President of the Federation of World Peace and Love, to give his remark today for today's important event. Now let's welcome Dr. Hong.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good day. Today, we are gathered in support of Stockholm Plus 50 to show our care for the earth, the common home of humankind and all other living things. No matter which part of the earth we come from, we are all citizens of the world, and the sustainable development of the earth is our common mission. In light of the current challenges and crises we face in our living environment, we cannot afford to waste time. Now is a critical moment for everyone to participate and take action for our planet, inspiring people's hearts to return to nature's way and to restore a healthy, prosperous, and sustainable planet depends on the guidance of our conscience and is the shared responsibility of all world citizens, and this cannot be delayed. With the conviction that we are all in the same boat, we should strive to find the best position for each person to unleash their potential and be creative. We must also be willing to let go of our ego, to work together with others while taking responsibility and courageously acting to correct the unbalanced development with our conscience. Only then can the earth have a bright and sustainable future. The United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, held in Stockholm in June 1972, was the first global conference to prioritize environmental concerns. The conference adopted the Declaration of the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, also known as the Stockholm Declaration, proposing the concept of only one Earth, reminding the world that a plan of action is required to protect the planet. However, 50 years later, the world is facing unprecedented economic and social pressure. The three aspects measured by the Human Development Index, health, knowledge, and living standards, continued to decline in 2020 and 2021. Global debt has surged, and many countries will confront financial crises and long-term economic difficulties. The environmental imbalance and wealth inequality are worsening, and there is no easing of our excessive consumption and production, which has depleted the Earth's resources. Despite making many policies and efforts, we have failed to hold the alarming rate of nature's decline. The old rules of thumb are no longer adequate to deal with the world's urgent and rapid developments. The impacts of the pandemic and the war serve as a warning that humans must become wiser, more in tune with the laws of nature, and develop while ensuring the harmonious coexistence of all things. Everyone should apply their conscience to ensure that all policies are effectively implemented. We must not only reverse the rapid environmental degradation, but also put an end to all destruction and jointly create a sustainable and stable home. Stockholm Plus 50 provides us with an opportunity to reflect deeply on the health of the planet, the equality of all things, and the collective well-being of the world. When we calm down, we can see the rising sun, the wind blowing over the sea, the rhythmic waves splashing on the shore, the birds singing, and the flowers blooming. This is the wonderful power of nature that nurtures and sustains all things. When we listen to the voices of our conscience and return to simplicity and being natural, in our thoughts and actions, we will naturally move toward a path that benefits the environment and the people of the world. By doing so, trust between people and between countries will naturally improve. Building a more loving world is an achievable goal. When people begin to change from their hearts, their daily thoughts and actions will start a virtuous cycle in their lives. People's hearts and thoughts can change the world. We should make good use of the power of our hearts, maximize the value we can bring to our lives, and cultivate the view of the universe that encourages us to sustain all life. The life journey of each person is a trial of the heart given to that person by heaven. With today's environmental challenges, it is imperative to reallocate global resources. Excessive waste or uneven distribution of resources can lead to unrest and increased conflict. When we have the world in our hearts and have compassion for those who are hungry or drowning, we will not be deceived by the external material world. When facing injustice and human rights violations, we will bravely stand up and defend justice. We will also have the wisdom to find ways to resolve conflicts, which is the manifestation of conscience. The sustainability of the environment and global citizens depends on everyone applying their conscience in their respective positions. When the leaders of a nation think about overall national policies, conscience-guided and people-oriented administration is essential for long-term stability and sustainable development. The current global situation affects all of us. No one is an outsider, and no country can benefit from any situation alone. Heads of state should treat the people of other countries as if they were their own, see the whole world as a big human family, and cultivate compassionate hearts. These are the virtuous traits of world leaders of conscience. Taking public interests into account, business leaders will use wisdom to strike a balance among the development of their enterprises, its impact on the environment, and the care of their employees. They will follow the guidance of their conscience, practice conscience-driven management, and fulfill their corporate social responsibilities as they take from society and should give back to society. Only then can they build happy enterprises that everyone admires. As global citizens, in the face of sudden changes in the greater environment, we need to cope with changes without fear and constantly adjust our thinking to adapt to the current situation, to handle difficulties and challenges. We need to always stay mentally positive and seek a path forward for ourselves. According to a proverb, the lotus flower emerges from the mud unstained. In the chaotic world, we need to allow our hearts to remain warm, kind, and peaceful. Treat others with love. Handle things peacefully. Always have spare energy to help those around us. Perform our responsibilities as global citizens, and valiantly fight for justice and human rights. All of these are actions of conscience. When everyone follows the guidance of their conscience, the problems we encounter today can be resolved. As long as we stop acting in our own self-interest and instead consider the well-being of the entire earth and all of humanity, we will be able to achieve a healthy, sustainable, and affluent planet. In the face of the daunting challenges, we must take immediate action. When we treat the disadvantaged and suffering people in the world as our brothers and sisters, we can expand the capacity of people's hearts and broaden their horizons, making it possible to realize a peaceful and beautiful world where everyone follows their conscience and every individual and family is happy. Here, we are consolidating the kind thoughts and good deeds of heroes of conscience from around the world. May the war end soon. May the environment be restored. May all life be blessed with peace. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Han again. As Dr. Han mentioned in his speech, as long as we stop acting in our own self-interest and instead consider the well-being of the entire earth and all of humanity, we will be able to achieve a healthy, sustainable, and affluent planet. Thus, we must act together like a family and work together towards our goal. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Renee Wallow, who's joining us has a video virtually and is also the president of the Association of World Citizens. He would like to share how we can exactly work towards an ecologically sound development and a sustainable world. Let's welcome his video.
Citizens of the world work for the full development of each person so as to be able to play a positive role in the family, the village, the country, and in the world society. This requires a healthy planet. Conscience-driven efforts must be undertaken to meet the many obstacles to a healthy planet. Humanity faces many important challenges, the urgencies related to climate change, to continuing poverty, to diminishing biodiversity and to population pressures. World citizens stress conscience as a guide for creative action to develop a world society of shared values. Conscience provides an ethical basis for the whole structure of human rights. We strive to make the world a more humane dwelling place for ourselves and for future generations. We move toward a peaceful, just and ecologically responsible future. 5th of June is the anniversary of the start of the United Nations-sponsored Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. There is an urgent need of preserving a harmonious relationship with nature. In many cases, this requires a restoration of damaged environments. We must unleash the creative energies of all persons as we strive for ecologically sound development. As Aldo Leopold, an early ecologist, wrote, "We abuse land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. Thus we act with conscience for a life-sustaining world. We have the ability to make choices. We cannot just drift." The Association of World Citizens is convinced that peace, justice and ecological stability are intimately linked. We promote a new global spirit based on trust, solidarity and the practice of goodwill. Ecologically sound development requires a new orientation based on ethical, moral, and spiritual values. We will build together.
And a special thank you to Dr. Renee Wallow for sending his message in support of this event today. Hello everyone, yes, a new face. I will be co-hosting with Gil today. Once again, thank you for joining us and to see many familiar faces we saw at the Stockholm 50. Are you guys enjoying the conference? It's coming to a close as well. It's been beautifully done with a lot of conscious put it into the efforts that we can all make. Great speeches around, and we're so glad you have decided to make your way over to this associate event as well as we continue to come together. At the end of the day, like Dr. Hong mentioned, it's all in the heart. We can have laws, we can have regulations, but if we don't have a good heart, those rules and laws won't work. And that is what we support with the Federation of World Peace and Love, the Association of World Citizens, and the Taijimen Qigong Academy putting together this event today. And we'd like to welcome all of you, and we do have some speakers today. And let me introduce the first speaker and welcome your comments on this day, this event, and how we can move forward from here on out. Let me take a look. And the first speaker, forgive me if I get the name wrong, you can correct me in a little bit. It'd be Kehkashan Basu from the UAE, human rights and environmental activist. Ms. Basu MSc is the United Nations Human Rights Champion, recipient of Canada's Meritorious Service Medal, winner of the 2016 International Children's Peace Prize, youngest trustee of the Parliament of the World's Religions, and the founder and president of Green Hope Foundation. Hi there, welcome.
Hello everyone. It is wonderful to be here today to share this space with all of you in person. Now, as was mentioned, my name is Kehkashan Basu, and you did a good job pronouncing my name, so that's fine. So my work is exactly centered around today's topic, which is why it was just so wonderful for me to be able to hear the remarks of the previous speakers, because that is exactly what we work on at Green Hope Foundation. We ask ourselves and ask people, what is peace? Peace is not a commodity that can be bought. Peace cannot exist in a society that is filled with hatred, discrimination, and bigotry. Peace cannot exist in a society where we decide to destroy our environment, exploit our natural resources for our own personal gain. But peace does exist in a community, in a society where we love one another, where we do not discriminate based on social determinants, where we take care of Mother Nature and understand that it is our moral responsibility as global citizens to be able to take care of both people and planet to ensure a prosperous present and future for all. And that is our work at Green Hope Foundation. Now, I started my journey in this field of sustainability 14 years ago when I saw the image of a dead bird with its belly full of plastic. I have been fortunate to grow up in a family where empathy and consciousness and love for people and planet was our norm. I saw that in my parents. I saw that in my grandparents. So when I saw that picture of the dead bird with its belly full of plastic, it made me realize that there must be something inherently wrong with our world for such an innocent creature to suffer through so much pain. And it was because of us as humans and our actions that that bird had died choking on plastic. So that is what prompted me to take action at the age of 7. And because I realized at that time that even though I was a child, it was my duty to be able to protect my fellow human and Mother Earth. I started by planting my first tree on my 8th birthday, which is actually also 5th June, World Environment Day. And it was kind of then that I realized that this was my mission, to be able to help and do my bit to create a world where no one is left behind. And by no one, I mean humans and Mother Earth. And 4 years after that, when I started Green Hope Foundation, I founded it and established it because I realized that there was a severe lack of inclusivity of children, young people, women, marginalized communities, people who should be represented at these conferences, at the highest world stages, but weren't. But were the ones most affected by environmental disasters, by war, and social strife. So our goal at Green Hope Foundation is to provide a platform of learning that turns into ground-level action so that we can create a peaceful and sustainable world for all. We will be turning 10 years old this year, and we hope really at every single day that we are able to do our bit for people and planet. We have planted over 800,000 trees all across the world, over 8,000 mangroves. We have built a school called Green Hope Foundation Academy of Hope for women and girls in a rural community in Bangladesh. We have built toilets and deep bore tube wells all around the world to ensure clean water and sanitation for these vulnerable communities most affected by climate change. Our most recent projects include installing solar grids to power education, to power schools, homes, community centers, and installing solar streetlights in communities that didn't have electricity before to provide safe spaces for women and girls to go out at night. And that was our way of ensuring peace. We teach children all around the world to grow their own food and to address and help with their physical and mental well-being. We take them to our farms all across the world so that they are able to reconnect with nature and find that inner peace so that they are able to grow up to be responsible citizens. And I'll give you one very specific example of our work on ensuring a peaceful world. We work in the Sundarbans, which is the world's largest mangrove forest that spans the eastern coastline of India and Bangladesh. And this is a very, very climate vulnerable community. It is also a very forest-dependent community where the people have been living in harmony with the mangrove forest for centuries, with the mangroves acting as both protector and provider. Now, when we spoke to the locals, they had told us that the hurricanes and the cyclones that hit them, they were increasing in intensity every single time and over the years, which was very worrying for them. So in 2009, when Cyclone Isla hit them, they were completely devastated, and even more so because the mangroves that protected them had been cut down as a result of urbanization. So this was a community that had been completely destroyed, their lives and livelihoods uprooted. So we at Green Hope Foundation wanted to be the catalyst of change, working with them to clean up their waterways with the waste coming in from the cities, replanting the mangroves and rebuilding their mangrove cover so they wouldn't be vulnerable to the next storm. What we didn't expect was that just 10 years after that, another super cyclone would hit them, Cyclone Amphan, and this was because of climate change, that the frequency of these storms had increased as well. And it brought about the same misery, death, and deprivation to this community, and we had to start our work all over again. And this, I share this example with you because it really shows us how our destruction of the environment is a threat to our human security, and that if we as human beings aren't able to address this before it's too late, we will be destroying not just ourselves, but our planet as well. So what we need right now is to regain our common humanity so that we are able to understand that just because something is happening in another part of the world, it does not mean that I won't do anything. It means that it is my duty as a responsible citizen to do my bit to ensure that my fellow human being and Mother Earth doesn't get destroyed because of my actions. And we have found this to be so powerful over our decades of work with Green Hope Foundation, so turning people all around the world into change makers who act for people and planet. So our call at Green Hope Foundation during Stockholm Plus 50 and beyond is to ensure that we turn our words into action and that we ensure that we are able to regain that humanity and empathy for people and planet so that we truly leave no one behind, and that we ensure a life of dignity for people and planet. Thank you.
And of course, congratulations on the 10 years. And you can see, even from the way she dressed, it supports the mission that she believes in. And I thank you for starting, for you to start with how you got started, what motivated you, that image that you saw with the bird. I think that's why we're all here, right? The love that we feel in our hearts to want to do something, and putting our words into action is something that we really agree with. As Dr. Hong mentioned, if we can let go of our selfishness, sometimes it happens when we're tired, when we're angry. But when we give ourselves some time each day to calm our hearts, to reflect on what we can do, to be at peace first with ourselves, we can reach beyond our boundaries, beyond ourselves, and make the world a better place. Do you believe that? We can make the world a better place. So I appreciate your comments and sharing your work with us for Green Hope Foundation, and we hope that we can from here on connect with all of you and continue our efforts. We can invite Ms. Basu back onto the stage, and also invite Dr. Hong onto the stage with a special presentation gift for you for being here today and sharing with us your comments. So I'd like to welcome Ms. Basu. Welcome, Dr. Hong. A special celebration in memory of coming together here at Stockholm Plus 50 in Sweden. May we continue to work together, be bonded by our love and our conscience. Every event that we host, we see as very special presentation, and this is the conscience scarf. And we hope you can remember our friendship from today. And the compass clock of conscience. With the conscience clock, it would be a reminder every day of what our heart reminds us to do. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hong. Thank you, Ms. Basu. We know we have another speaker, Prahat Sodhi. from CEE Delhi Center for Environment Education, India. I'd like to welcome you for your speech.
Thank you very much. Namaste, good afternoon, Adavarze. Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to be here with you and your excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to come here between the people who really cherish to be happy, as the topic says, responsible world citizens and a healthy planet. The healthy planet can only be there, love and peace can only be there if we really are happy at heart, what Doctor said. And we believe very strongly in each one of you to be very happy with what you have come here for. I represent an organization, Center for Environment Education in India. That's where I come from. And in this, we do lots of activities. I am presently engaged with plastics in management and the way to recycle and recover them and provide dignity and respect to the people who work in the domain of the plastics. Their inclusivity, their happiness and their joys become our joys, you know. That's how we go with the world. But let me take you back 40 years from where I was. I've done 40 years of my job and I still continue to be it because I love it and I enjoy every bit of it. And when I was young, I was in a private sector. I used to sell chemical fertilizers. And I used to go in a very remote areas selling fertilizers. Everywhere I could go, I was young, I was having a vehicle with me and we would go all out and meet our targets. So I would go in the field, in the villages. They would say, we are so young, we are so hungry and we don't have clothes to wear. Su karvanu che tumhari khatir. I spoke a local language which said that, what am I to do with your fertilizer when I don't have money to buy clothes or even eat food? And that is the day which struck me very strongly. And I just gave up the job. And I said, I'm going to work in development. And I met a person like you in my organization where I was working. And he said, okay, you develop a project. And I developed a project in a tribal area. That is about in 1990 I'm talking. And there I lived in forests, thanks to my wife. She never divorced me. She lived with me. And there we worked for, and it was through the British government development. That time it was known as British ODA. But that led me to change the thinking process in myself. As Ms. Basu said, that how she was carried off. And I'm sure each one of you have stories around. And that's why you are here. The only reason of you coming here is because you have a story to tell and share of love and peace. So time went by, we did a lot of projects, I changed my life to development and we went into it. And believe me or so, I have never felt that even one day I lost it. Every day I enjoyed it and I'm enjoying still today when I'm working with a more than $20 million program in India in 25 cities where I'm all the time talking that we have to do plastics collection. But mind you, the first thing I tell to my colleagues is, you should be happy doing it. Don't go with a forced manner that this is a job. It's not a 9-to-5 job. You have to put your heart in it and you have to get to the people who are working there, their inclusivity and their rights to be protected. So that carries on. I will not go long to go with you. I have brought some papers. People can pick it up. We are doing as responsible citizens in the city. In the cities, what we are doing is we are having drop points in Delhi and many other cities in India where we have opened up people to come up and be the voice there. Come and write their comments, what needs to be done by government. Deposit your plastics and take the money back, or take a cloth bag or a mask. You give half a kg or 300 grams or whatever. So I brought those folders, and there's a book called Low Carbon Lifestyle, which is all about calculations. It's all about calculations. You can pick up one, whosoever wants. If there are less number of copies, please give me, the mail is there, and I'll give you the details. It's all on CD in Excel sheet. It was released in 2015 under the India delegation in COP, Paris. and I wrote it personally because I was fed up. Seeing everybody pressing the lift up and down. Lift does not work on water. It is using electricity. So if you want to go up, then we press up going. And 5 people not going in the lift, and every time you go for first floor, second floor, third floor, you are using electricity. We are all using it. I was getting desperate about it. What are those actions which we can do as a responsible citizen for a healthy planet? There are 50 such actions in this, and all are just numbers. Nowhere we get, if I do this, how much of consumption I'm doing in terms of electricity. If I'm not doing this, how much am I saving? What are my carbon emissions, and what is the cost I'm saving? And disasters also. And many of these thoughts you will see, you will enjoy. But I don't want to take away too much of your time. But thank you very much for making me feel very happy and a responsible citizen for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. And dear responsible citizen, please come to the front. And Dr. Hong will also present you a special gift in appreciation and serve as a reminder for us to remember our wonderful friendship. Thank you. And next, we'd like to welcome our next speaker, who sent in their video message, His Excellency Hamid Masaid, Minister of Agriculture, Fishing, Environment, Tourism and Arts, Crafts and Government Speaker, Union des Commons. And we'll watch the video together.
The dear Minister for Agriculture, Fishery, Environment, Tourism and Craft. I come from Comoro Island, and I am here to participate to the 5th anniversary of the United Nations Program of Environment. As you asked me the question, according to everybody, especially for scientists, the environment in the world is still degrading. Of course, there is a big consciousness that measures to be taken to help us overcome all the challenges. They are only words, but not facts. So we have to do our best to give to our children a best environment. And this is the wish of my president, this is the wish of our country, is to have, because we will come from a small island, 2,000 square kilometers, it's a small one, it's threatened. So if we want to save our children, we have all of us work hardly to preserve our environment. Thank you.
We met many wonderful leaders who are willing to take the step, and sometimes also as world citizens, we have to give them a push and tell them what it is that we are experiencing, what we need, so we can really, truly work together. Actually, my first time attending one of these meetings is also with Dr. Hong in 2008. We went to New York for the 5th Annual Youth Assembly. First time hearing about the SDGs and all that. And we talked about what we did, and I shared with them, I'm with Federation World Peace and Love, and we spread love and peace. We ring the bell around the world, invite world leaders to make a wish so that they can put their words into action. The guy looked at me kind of confused, like, really? I build tents, which also very wonderful, but I think he was looking for something he thought would be more practical. And I was a little confused as well, like, am I doing something wrong? Like, am I saying something wrong? In 2018, after a few years of, traveling with Dr. Hong and working on these volunteer works and then attending meetings like this with you guys, there was a meeting at the United Nations headquarters as well about the promotion of love and conscience to promote culture of peace, which later came about to be the April 5th International Day of Conscience. At that first initial draft meeting, one of the ambassadors had said she started working at the United Nations headquarters 3 months prior to that meeting. And that day was the first time she had used the word love and peace. And that was moving for me because we're motivators for this change. it's not just about the powers anymore. It's about everyone, the equality. And so that's why I'm very excited to invite more of the speakers. And if you didn't sign up, we hope to hear from you too. Some comments on what you think, what you do, and how we can make this world truly a better place. Next speaker will be the Smart Youth Network Initiative team leader from Uganda.
Good evening. My name is Businje Nurdin. I come from Uganda in East Africa. I am so much happy that I'm here. It is my first time to be in a room of people who love culture as Chinese. Africa and China, I think we share a lot in common because we are the people who preserve our cultures. I also want to thank people who were there 50 years ago at a first Stockholm meeting in Sweden here, and I am happy to be here to witness this history. Speaking about love and the world citizen, where I come from in Africa, we are neighbors of Congo. There is no peace that side. Very many young people are mobilized to fight in these fights, and would like to call upon this program to come in Africa. I am the team lead of Smart Youth Network Initiative. Our organization aims at community transformation, and we have a network of over 1 million young people in Africa and the Great Lakes region. For us to achieve peace and love and be good world-class citizens, we need to have 3 things, and I noted it here down. First of all, we need to invest in education. Very many young people, I will talk about Africa, in Uganda and the East African region. People need to learn about love and peace to stop the war. In Africa, in Congo, there are 46 militia groups. I think each district have their own militia groups. And I don't know where they get the guns from, but they kill each other. So that's not love, that's not peace, and that's not sustainable development, that's not world-class citizen. So I call upon all leaders here, the policymakers here, the development partners here, to put resources together to ensure that there is education. And then also what we need to do is scale up solutions and innovations. Some of the reasons why I think these young people join those groups is because of unemployment. And some of them have come up with small solutions to curb that, and they don't have capacity to scale them up. So this is one way how we can really come to bring that to an end. And then another point is to develop partnership and networks. We cannot really spread love, spread peace, be world-class citizens without partnership, without working together, without networking. I will not waste a lot of time. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you.
But first, the conscience scarf and hope from here on out. We'll remember working together with the Federation of World Peace and Love to share our message, our love for the world together. Thank you. And so we talked about education. That was so important, and then partnering up and what we can do. And actually, I'm very excited to share with you the ICDAY website. We do have a lot of free resources that can be utilized around the world. One of them is the Bloom video that we can play in a little bit. And as they're packing, we're going to play a little bit to show the website very quick. Thank you. And so the ICDAY website, you see on the top, get involved. Under that, you'll see Get Involved on the right. Yeah, under there you have resources. Once you click into that, we have different videos that talks about the heart, the conscience, and also printouts that maybe kids can participate with and share their ideas of what conscience is, what love is. And so this is all free for you to utilize. And then going back to the top, you see on the declaration, that is also a great way to get all the world citizens to be responsible world citizens and come together. And this is the declaration. And so far we have 195 participating countries. You can check to see if your country's part of this great initiative. And be sure to invite your friends as well to join us on this great initiative. And let me get my computer over here. And so ICDAY.org is where you can find all of this information, the declaration, the resources, ICDAY. So that came from the International Day of Conscience. ICDAY also means I see good things, right, around the world, and we share it with everyone. We paint the beautiful picture of the world together. We can invite next speaker. We have Endesha from Ethiopia to share with us today. Welcome.
Thank you, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here in front of the responsible citizens. Really, it is my first time to encounter such an event and also to encounter such individuals. It is just spreading good spirit. I am Ndashaw, coming from Ethiopia, the Director of Population Health Environment, Ethiopia Consortium. It is a consortium organization working on harmonizing people with environment. So this concise-driven restoration, this is really very important element for our values. So really it is just an opportunity for me to spread these ideas to our country. So when I got a person and when I was invited, I was eager to be part of this initiative, and it is really a blessing for me. When we see Ethiopia, Ethiopia is the second populous country in Africa, so people are increasing. There is population pressure. So this improving the conscience of people is very helpful for not only for environment but also for peace. There are problem of peace in the world. Maybe this is driven by the lack of conscience. So it is very important to work on conscience of the people for all aspects. So this is really very important element. For example, our consortium is working on harmonizing people with nature. We are working on environment, we are working on health. And this will be an additional element for us so that we can improve the conscience of people, the citizens, the young generation. This conscience is just declining from time to time. And that is why there is a negative impact of the population on the environment. And also there is a declining aspect of the peace of the world. So working on conscience is very important and helpful for us, for our country and for the world too. And the most important that attracts my attention is the world citizen. It is also the important aspect that I will spread in my country. As I told you, my consortium is a membership organization which constitutes the local and international organizations. So this is a good opportunity for us, for me, to spread just through our members. Thank you again, and it is really a pleasure to be here in front of you. I have not prepared myself to make a speech. Just I am just explaining my impression. Really, it is a great impression for me. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Endesha. And once again, we invite Dr. Hong to the stage and present a special scarf of the Federation of World Peace and Love. At the Federation of World Peace and Love, we've been working since 2000 to promote love and peace around the world through cultural exchanges, world leaders summits of love and peace, in engagements like this today, where we congregate a positive energy. All right, how about this? All the world citizens join together. 1, 2, 3, love and peace. 1, 2, 3, love and peace. All right, you guys are a great crowd. All right. Thank you so much. And next, we'd like to welcome Dr. Cole Ojutola, Senior Lecturer from University of Florida. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I always like to receive energy when I give energy. Now, and so it's always very nice to be in the company of people who have a vision and who are not just sitting on their behinds, but are really pursuing that vision. It is a world in which we live that we all will someday leave this world. But the question we would ask every time is, in what state did you meet the world, and in what state are you preparing to live it? Spirituality is the only link for humanity, and peace is the wing on which we all fly. There's no way in which you can live without peace. We say it all the time when somebody passes on. May you rest in peace. But the question we ask is, why don't we tell ourselves, live in peace? Why rest in peace only when we're gone? But while we're alive and kicking, we should also remember that the injunction and the continuous reminding of each other of waking up that energy in us, the innate energy, to live in peace. Living in peace is not just in the absence of war. Living in peace with humans and one's human or living things. Though in the Western epistemology, you hear things like living and non-living things. But the truth of the matter is that everything, the chair you're sitting upon, the rug, once lived. They were a part of a living being. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. But we constantly say living and non-living. What is it that you know that never lived? The chair you sit in made from the wood was a tree before it became a chair. The cloth you're wearing was from the plant, and it was living. So when you begin to see things like this, you should be able to change your mindset. That there is really nothing wrong when we find the path of peace. It is not a destination. Peace is not where you arrive. It is the journey. And for every time you arrive at a peaceful point in your life, another one starts. I'm not just a teacher, I'm also a poet. And I have always wanted to have in the corner of my house a shrine for peace.